4 out of 5 homebuyers right now are sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to drop. 4 out of 5. And the number they're waiting for? 3%. Maybe 4. Something that feels like what they had in 2021. Here's what they're probably going to get. Nothing below 6% for the next several years. Every major forecaster out there, NAR, Zillow, Redfin, Freddy Mac, they all say the same thing. Rates are staying right where they are. So today I'm going to show you 55 years of real data and make the case that waiting is one of the most expensive decisions you can make right now. I'm Scott Middleton, 20-year Air Force vet, retired air traffic controller, and licensed realtor in Atlanta. Let's get into it. Freddy Mac has tracked the 30-year fixed mortgage rate every single week since 1971. That's 55 years of data. Watch what this line does. The 1970s started at 7.5% and ended at 11%. Not great, but people bought houses. The 1980s are where it gets ugly. Rates peaked at 16.6% in 1981. 16.6%. On a $150,000 home, that was over $2,000 a month just in principal and interest, and people still bought houses because life doesn't stop for interest rates. The 1990s brought some relief. Rates ran between 7 and 10%. The 2000s started at 8% and slowly worked down to around 5.5% by 2009. The 2010s were a long, steady slide from 4.7 down to 3.7% by 2019. And then you see that massive dip. That's 2020 and 2021. The Federal Reserve dropped rates to near zero to keep the economy alive during COVID. Mortgage rates hit 2.96% in January 2021, the lowest rate ever recorded in 55 years of Freddie Mac data. That's the number people are chasing right now. That's why 4 out of 5 buyers are sitting on the sidelines. They want 2.96% back. But here's the thing. That was an emergency. It was never normal. It was never supposed to last. Let me put today's rate next to some real history, because I think when you actually see the numbers, something clicks. 1981, 16.6%. 1990, 10.1%. 2000, 8.05%. 2006, right in the middle of the biggest housing boom anyone can remember, 6.4%. Stop there for a second. 2006. The market was absolutely on fire. Bidding wars everywhere. People were buying vacation homes and investment properties like it was nothing. And the rate was 6.4%. Today's rate is 6.30%. That's lower than 2006. And here's the number that really matters. The 55-year average going all the way back to 1971 is 7.67%. Today at 6.3%, we're well below that. We're not in a high rate environment. We're in a below average rate environment that feels high because of 2 years of pandemic era emergency pricing. Nobody called buyers in 2006 crazy for getting in at 6.4%. Today the rate is lower and buying feels risky. That's not a math problem, that's a perception problem. So how did we end up here? Let me walk you through what actually happened. March 2020, the Fed drops rates to between 0 and 0.25%, emergency levels. The goal was to keep money moving during COVID. It worked, maybe too well. Mortgage rates hit 2.96% in January 2021. Buyers flooded the market. There wasn't enough inventory. Prices went insane. Home values nationally jumped over 40% between 2020 and 2022. 40% in 2 years. Then inflation showed up. By mid-2022, it was running at 9.1%, the highest in 40 years. The Fed had to act. They raised rates faster than at any point since the 1980s. Mortgage rates went from 3% to over 8% in less than 2 years. The market froze almost overnight. Here's what that chart is actually showing you. Rates dropped to an emergency low. Prices exploded because of that low. Rates shot back up. The people who bought in 2021 got a great rate but paid a peak price. The people who waited are now looking at normalized rates and prices that are still elevated because inventory never caught up with demand. Waiting didn't help anyone. It just cost them time. Now I know what you're thinking. Scott, home prices are way higher than they used to be. The rate might be similar to 2006, but the houses cost twice as much. You're right. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. The median home price in 2000 was $119,600. Today, it's around $405,000. That's real, and it matters. But here's what that argument actually means when you follow it all the way through. Home values have gone up roughly 55% since 2020 alone. The people who said they'd wait for the rates to drop in 2022, 2023, and 2024, they waited, and they watched prices hold. They got neither the low rate they wanted nor the lower price they were hoping for. A survey from March 2025 found that 4 in 5 buyers were still waiting for rates to fall. A quarter of them said they wanted rates below 5% before they'd buy. That's not expected to happen for at least 3 years according to every major forecaster. So what did 3 years of waiting actually cost them? 3 years of rent, 3 years of someone else building equity, 3 years of prices not coming down the way they hoped. The people who bought in 2022 at 6.5% on a $380,000 home, their house is worth around $405,000 today. They've been building equity while the waiters paid rent, and if rates drop, they can refinance. The person still waiting can't go back and buy at 2022 prices. Let me show you the actual math, because I think this is where people's heads really go sideways. Same $300,000 loan, let's look at the monthly payment across different eras. 1981 at 16.6%, $4,156 a month. 1990 at 10%, $2,632 a month. 2000 at 8%, $2,201 a month. 2006 at 6.4%, $1,876 a month. 2021, pandemic low at 3%, $1,265 a month. Today at 6.3%, $1,858 a month. Your payment today on a $300,000 loan is $18 more per month than it was during the 2006 housing boom. $18. People are sitting out of the market over $18 a month. That's not a rate problem, that's a mindset problem. So what does waiting actually cost you? Let me put real numbers on it. Average US rent right now is around $1,700 a month. That's $20,400 a year. Over 3 years, that's $61,200. Every dollar of that is gone. It doesn't build anything, it's not an investment, it's just a housing expense you'll never see again. Meanwhile, the person who bought 3 years ago, even at 6.3 or 6.5%, has been building equity the whole time. Homes historically appreciate 4 to 7% a year. On a $400,000 home, that's $16,000 to $28,000 in equity growth every year. Over 3 years, that's $48,000 to $84,000. So the renter is down $61,200. The buyer is up $48,000 to $84,000. That's a swing of over $100,000 in 3 years before you even factor in the principal paydown. And here's the part that really gets me. People talk about waiting for rates to drop so they can refinance into something better. That's actually a smart move, if you're already in a house. But you can't refinance a rate you don't have, and you can't go back in time and buy at last year's price. I want to talk directly to the military families watching this for a second, because this hits a little different for you. PCS orders don't come with a clause that says rates have to be below 5% before you have to move. The Air Force isn't going to call you and say, "We know the market's tough right now. Take your time." You get orders, you get 60 days, and you're moving your whole family to somewhere you may have never been. I did that for 20 years. I know what it looks like, and I watched veterans and military families buy homes at every point on that chart, at 8%, at 10%, even higher, and they built wealth. They built stability. They built a life. The ones who said they'd wait for perfect conditions are still waiting. And here's the thing most people don't talk about. The VA loan is one of the most powerful home buying tools that exists. No down payment, no PMI, competitive rates. You earn that. Don't let the rate conversation talk you out of using a benefit that you spent 20 years earning. If your orders are dropping or a move is coming, reach out before you start scrolling Zillow. Here's the bottom line, 30 seconds. The 55-year average mortgage rate is 7.67%. Today's rate is 6.3%. We're below average. 4 in 5 buyers are waiting for rates under 5%. That's not happening for at least 3 more years. 3 years of rent lost while waiting, $61,200. 3 years of equity built by someone who bought, $48,000 to $84,000. That's a 6-figure difference. You can refinance a rate, but you can't buy at last year's price. The market isn't broken. Your expectations got set during a 2-year pandemic emergency. That's not coming back. Stop waiting for a market that isn't coming. Buy when you can afford to and when you need to. That's how every generation before us built wealth, not by timing the market, but getting in. If you're buying or selling in Atlanta, or you know someone anywhere who needs a military-friendly agent, reach out. I work Atlanta directly, and I've got a network of veteran-friendly agents across the country who'll take care of you the same way I would. Subscribe if this kind of straight talk is useful to you. I'm Scott Middleton, Tattooed Realtor, Atlanta.